morning, Abby.
Good morning, Miss Mosseri.
Okay, so tomorrow we're teaching a lesson for our fourth grade class in representing numbers, right?
Yes.
Okay. So how do we want to do that?
So we can do team teaching for most of it, and then so that'll be a whole group, and then we can split off into small groups and kind of both go around and monitor the groups while they're working together.
Okay. I know there's 3 different ways of representing numbers, so maybe we could have 3 different sizes of groups.
Yeah, for sure. We can do like small group, and then we could do like partners, and then we could even do individual.
Okay.
For one for each
Yeah, that sounds good.
section. So when class starts, I can gather and print the assessments that we're going to be doing after the lesson, and I can be greeting students at the board or at the door and telling them to get the whiteboard and the marker materials that we're going to need for the lesson.
Okay, and then I'll make sure our presentation is loaded, and handing out the students that need aids, I'll give them their things that they need before class starts.
Yes, so we have to remember that we have Jimmy, who has the BIP that we need to be monitoring during teaching.
Mm-hmm.
So during breakout, one of us can just check up on him.
Make sure he's doing okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that sounds good. And then Allie has the visual impairment, so we need to make sure that she's given our presentation on a larger version, printed out for her. Right?
Yeah, and then Kyle has ADD, so he's gonna need his fidget. So we just have to make sure that we are aware that he's got that and he's okay with that.
Yeah. Maybe we can let him pick out the fidget that he wants to use during math.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Okay.
And then, we need to make sure we have our ICANNs posted.
Yes, okay, so I can also do that when class is starting, be writing those up on the board. And our ICANNs are, I can represent different numbers using numerals, I can represent numbers using words, and I can represent numbers in extended form, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, so the purpose of our lesson then would be, we want students to be able to read and write multi-digit numbers in multiple ways. And then, so at the end of the lesson, we have to make sure our assessment assesses that they can do those things.
Right, and at this level, all of our students with IEPs should be able to master those at grade level.
Okay, so during the actual lesson, we can do, you said something about, you had an idea, you told me earlier.
Oh, for the opener, so we could do, have you seen those triangles with has different triangles all set up and you have to count the numbers where it's kind of like an optical illusion? So we could have them try and count how many triangles are in that picture, and then have them try and think of how many different ways they could represent the number of triangles that there are.
Yeah, that'd be cool, so they could write the number, maybe draw a certain number of triangles, spell the number out, and then that can be a good hook about what we're actually teaching.
Yeah, so I'll just say want you to look at this picture and count how many triangles there are. Once you've done that, think about and write down how many different ways you can represent the number.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay.
So then, once that's done, we'll have a PowerPoint of the 3 different parts of the lesson we're gonna teach.
Right.
And then, I'll start by saying that we have a number, and I'll write it, or I guess it'll be on a PowerPoint, and I can write the place value lines on the board.
So ones place, tens place, hundreds, got it.
And then I can have a picture of base 10 blocks on the PowerPoint, and we can show them how to count base 10 blocks and then how to represent that number in numerals.
Right, yeah. And that's something that they should already be able to do. But just a nice little review, and we can call on different students and have them do it with other examples.
Yeah.
Maybe call them up to the board.
And then that can be their first breakout, so since that's kind of review, they can do that independently.
Yeah.
And then, so we'll just give them, we'll change slides, and the next slide could be a couple base 10
Yeah.
problems. And then for Allie, who has the visual impairment, she can have a paper copy
Mhm.
of
And
the
she could write right on
slide.
there.
Yeah.
And then next we'll go on to like word form.
Mhm.
So again, we'll have either like pictures or numeral examples up on the board in our presentation. And we'll give an example of how you write out the number using words, so like 1,200,
Mhm.
like so on.
Yeah.
And making sure they're given like the correct form of all that and the correct spelling. And then we're gonna have them read those aloud and write down examples again, correct?
Yeah, that will be the next breakout. We can write, we'll have to write 3 numbers on the board or have them on the PowerPoint, and then we can split them up into partners and they can practice writing these out in spelling form. And then the last breakout that we can do is the extended form. So we can have them in small groups, and they can have both the base 10 form and
Like
the
numeral examples.
numeral, and they can just practice writing both of those out in extended form with their small group.
So it's like writing 500 plus 40 plus 3.
To represent 543, yeah.
Yeah.
So then,
So then for closure, maybe we could have a couple of students summarize what we did that day and how we learned to represent numbers. Maybe call in like 3 different students and have each one summarize a different
way.
Yeah.
And then, for the assessment, we can have, like paper assessments as an exit ticket before they can leave, so they just have to identify the 3 ways that we learn to represent numbers and maybe give an example of each one, and then we'll know by the next day if they grasped
each concept.
correctly.
Yeah, and then we can look over those assessments and assign students based on where we need to focus more. So we could have a small group of students who need to work more on written form or extended form, or if there's a group of students who need to work on numeral form too.
Yeah.
And we'll look at the data for that.
Yeah, okay.
All right, well, we'll get all of our assessments and PowerPoints together and we'll teach this tomorrow.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right,
See you later.
I'll see you tomorrow.